Anime Recap here. Today, I'm going to explain an adventure romance anime called Banished from the Hero's Party. I decided to live a quiet life in the countryside. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. 3 years after the demon lord Taraxon invaded Avalon, half of the continent fell under his rule. However, the nation where the hero party led by Ruti remained standing and living without the threat of an invasion. Because many innocent people's lives rely on their protection, the hero party dedicates their life to the mission. It consists only of the highest-ranking knights and warriors, including the brother of the hero-blessed Ruti, Gideon Ragnarsson. Unlike his sister, Gideon's God-given blessing is considered to be a mediocre one. Everyone in Avalon is given a blessing that will determine that person's life. His divine blessing of guide only helps him survive terrains. And that's it. This made him so insecure that he tried to compensate by going the extra mile for the hero party, until the second-in-command warrior, Arasu Suara, deemed his efforts a liability that can eventually hurt Ruti. In a gathering of the strongest knights, Arasu demonstrates how weak Gideon is by challenging him to break a ward that he put up. Even with his strongest attempt, Gideon could not crack it. Arasu's words went through Gideon's confidence like venom. This forced him to accept that he is not meant to be in combat with Ruti, especially when he's more of a detriment than help. Before he leaves, he tells Arasu to lie to the knights he's in charge of that he left at his own will. That night, the formidable Gideon Ragnarsson left the only life he's ever known. He moved to Zoltan to live a quiet life away from the horrors of battling the Demon Lord's forces. A few months later, Zoltan proves to be the perfect place for Gideon to restart his life. There weren't many visitors except for a few fugitives and hermits in this town. He even changed his name to Red. However, his name is not the only thing that has changed. Here, he is no longer known as a hero knight but as a charming man with a vast knowledge of medicinal herbs. Every day, he hunts for valuable herbs and exchanges them with the Adventurers Guild for some pennies. Although his life today is vastly different from the one before, Red is content. He even tells the other adventurers that his dream is to open his apothecary and seeks a quiet life. Gone are the days of pursuing adventures and thrills. Outside the guild's office, he meets one of his friends, Tanta, a kid with a bright smile and a brighter outlook on life. Tanta tells Red that someday he will be the one to build his apothecary, although he suddenly mentions that he's not actually sure of what Red's blessing is. Red smiles at Tanta when the kid asks what it is. He tries to change the topic and tells the little boy that his father and uncle are waiting for the food he's going to deliver. Although disappointed, the kid tells him to visit again so they can talk more about the apothecary that they'll be building. In the evening, Red is reminded of the night he gave up his position at the hero's party. Memories and anxieties related to his sister keep him awake. Although there's no glory in being in a quiet town, Red does not need to worry about intrigues or risking his life in battle. As he looks at a drawing on his wall, he realizes that Zoltan offers the solace and peace he needs that being a knight can never give him. After another trip to the forest to gather medicinal herbs, Red encounters adventurers seeking his help. They are worried about an owlbear that can harm the citizens of Zoltan and they want him to be their guide. As someone with the divine blessing of a guide, Red can go to the deepest part of the mountains and never get lost. However, the people of Zoltan don't know this. All they know is that he's an expert in traversing the mountains. The leader of the adventurers, Albert, persuades Red by telling him that he can be a C-rank adventurer if he goes with them. Unfortunately for him, Red doesn't want the adventurer's rank, so he adamantly refuses multiple times. Albert growls in frustration and walks out. The Adventurers Guild receptionist, Magria, tells Red that she can guarantee his promotion. Still, Red refuses. He knows that to keep his secret, he must hold back, and if that means not helping the town kill an owlbear, then he's ready to face the consequence. However, that night, Red has to visit the off-limits mountain to get blood needles to save Tanta from a life-threatening illness. Because time is of the essence, Red has no choice but to use his endurance and high-speed mastery to reach the mountains. There, he discovers that Albert and his party used fire to kill the owlbear, so Red has to brave the heat to fetch some much-needed blood needles. Unfortunately, it's not the only obstacle Red has to overcome. It turns out that the owlbear survived Albert's party and is ready to end his life. With one attack using his sharp-edged sword, the owlbear meets the end of his life. Red's not a part of the greatest hero party for nothing. Red came just in time to save Tanta and prevent permanent damage from the sickness. The doctor tells the family that if it wasn't for Red, they will be seeing a different outcome. Still, as he walks home, he couldn't help but undermine his efforts. If only he has more skills than the average ones given to him, then he would have more blood needles. But for Tanta's uncle, Gons, what he did is something he would never be grateful enough for. So, the carpenter catches up to Red to tell the former adventurer what a blessing he is to the town of Zoltan. Although Red thinks otherwise, he diverts their conversation to a reward he requests from Gons. 4 months later, an adventurer named Rit goes to the guild for a job completion report. She notices that Megria isn't in her usual clothes. The receptionist tells the champion adventurer that she is bound to celebrate Red's apothecary shop opening. Intrigued, Rit asks about Red. Megria isn't shy in divulging any information related to him. She tells Rit all the best qualities of the man and even the secrets she thinks he's hiding. When Rit learns that Red is an herb specialist with a kind heart and has the possibility of being a former adventurer, she couldn't help but be reminded of a man that is similar to him. Megria notices the slight change in Rit and asks if something is wrong with her, but the adventurer only shrugs. Right then and there, Rit decides to visit the apothecary as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Red is busy admiring the apothecary Gons constructed. Because of his good heart, he could request Gons to build his dream apothecary in exchange for saving Tanta. The said kid couldn't be prouder to help his uncle build the shop he promised to Red previously. With the good people of Zoltan, Red celebrates the opening of a dream he never thought possible a year before. Being a pharmacist and helping the town doctor, being a friend to kids like Tanta, and being with warm-hearted people without having to prove himself are just what he needs. So, when Gons asks him if he has bigger dreams, he could only smile and thank the unexpected people who helped him start a peaceful life away from the tumultuous life of adventuring. A few days after the celebration, Red's excitement about owning an apothecary shop has died down. He stares at the door of his shop desperately waiting for customers. If no one buys his medicinal concoction, everything will expire and his efforts will be wasted. Seconds later, the door opens, momentarily giving Red an energy boost until he sees the person who walked into his shop. The wide-eyed and beautiful adventurer Rit greets her comrade with a hopeful smile. However, Red couldn't return the gesture. Instead, a drop of sweat appears on his face. The appearance of Rit means only one thing. It's not impossible for other people to find him in the faraway land of Zoltan. Still, a well-mannered man like Red couldn't ignore the charming adventurer and offers her tea. Rit, short for Rizlet, the princess of Lagurvia, disguises herself as a B-rank adventurer in Zoltan. She decided to leave the royal family to prevent a rift from forming between her and her brother who is set to take the crown. Zoltan has given her solace, a feeling that Red is familiar with. The princess addresses Red by Gideon and the former knight tells her that he goes by Red now. Rit teases him that Red is too similar to Rit. It's because of this that he reveals that Red is indeed a name based off of Rit. The beautiful princess blushes with the knowledge that Red remembers her even when they have been apart for so long. Curious about why he left his party, Rit continues to ask Red questions. The former knight reveals the real reason why he has to leave Ruti's side. His banishment infuriates and angers Rit as she slams her hand on the table. She defends Red's side, but the young man has long since accepted his faith. He's convinced that the party didn't need him because of the recent news about them defeating Gandor's troops. After their lengthy discussion, the tea has gone cold, so Red insists to brew another one for the princess. While boiling another batch of tea leaves, Red reminisces of the time he and Ruti spent a quiet afternoon drinking hot tea. But he reminds himself that his sister is not a kid anymore and his assistance is no longer needed. He goes out of the kitchen as if everything is alright and serves tea to the princess. The adventurer praises Red's brewed tea and compares it to the one she used to have at court. She says that maybe it's better because he prepared it with her in mind. The soft smile on the princess' face reminds Red of the time they met years ago. Back then, Red and the hero party were discussing orc sightings when a drunk man approached a lone woman at the bar. He clutched the cloaked woman's shoulder. Enraged, she used her sheer strength to throw him to the floor. Afterwards, she looked at the hero's party and told them a woman like her never needed help. She stomped proudly out the door. Although intrigued, Red told Ruti not to pay attention to the girl. One of the members of the party asked who she was. The two drunken men near the table proudly announced she's the champion, Rit, a formidable adventurer who never once lost in a battle. That's how Red indirectly met the proud and prickly adventurer that over time he will come to know is a soft-hearted woman. In the present, Red tells Rit how she's always been dishonest with her feelings in the earlier times he encountered her in battles. But Rit is quick to tell the man that she had been honest on multiple occasions. Like that time in the mountain village, when they discussed a piece of important information about strange tracks in Lagurvia. The princess admitted feeling bad about withholding the information from the hero party, especially to Red, whom she teased about not being able to gather secret information. Red couldn't care less and still offered the help of the hero party from the incoming attacks of the Demon Lord's army. However, the proud princess refused the aid and insisted that she had defeated those armies and in time she will defeat them again. So, Red did not push the issue. Instead, he offered her a delicious treat that he made. The princess tried to hide her delight upon tasting the cookie. She stayed stoic and told the young knight that it didn't taste bad at all. Rit admits that it was an honest feeling back then. But to Red, there is only one time he witnessed Rit's real emotions. The time when they fought with Shisandan. Years ago, while battling the Demon Lord's forces, Lagurvia had low fuel and food, so the princess decided to target the enemy's forces to end the war immediately. Lagurvia's great captain and Rit's mentor, Lord Gaius, agreed to the champion's plan. He added that the hero party who was lending their help stayed in Lagurvia to protect the people and the castle. However, Rit's plan didn't work. It was a trap set by the Shisandan, who at the time was disguising himself as Lord Gaius. Thankfully, Red thought the plan was suspicious and followed Rit. He threw his sword at Shisandan, who transformed back to his real appearance. Even with their combined forces, Rit and Red couldn't defeat the three-armed monster. Fortunately, Ruti was there to save both of them, but the guilt caused by Rit's failed decision made the princess lose her will to fight. Even with Red pushing her, the young knight could not convince the princess until he reminds her of what is at stake: her kingdom and the people of Lagurvia. As a warrior princess, she must get over the fear and win the battle for her people. Back to the present, with a smile on his face, Red remembers how Rit regained her will to fight and defeated the Demon Lord's army. The two talked so much that it is already time for dinner, so Red invites her to join him. However, Rit has one more important thing to tell him. It can't wait for dinner, so she just blurts it out as if she's only asking him for a piece of candy. Red did not expect the princess to ask him if she could work in the apothecary. He instantly refuses her. Both are nervous as they try to make a point of their stance. Rit defends that with her help, Red can leave as much as he can to look for medicinal plants. Meanwhile, Red argues he still doesn't have enough customers to warrant any help. However, Red's opinion changes when the princess offers a valuable opinion about one of his magic potions. The Multiply potion aims to multiply any magic 5 times stronger. With this, the people will no longer need to buy more potent magic potions. Rit points out that his original concoction will affect the market prices of other potions, therefore the economy will be affected. Rit laughs as she realizes that the perfect knight can make mistakes. In the past, Rit had always seen Red as someone that is on a level she can never reach. When Red asks if she's disappointed, the princess blushes and tells him the opposite. It makes her want to be around him more often. This is why, even with low pay, the princess is willing to help out Red. At dinner, Red prepares a delicious meal that Rit enjoys. She tells him that she can finally enjoy his dishes every day. The young man has no clue about what Rit is saying, but he thinks it would be fun to cook for her. The princess then tells other things that make Red wonder if she's moving in. She starts talking about building a bathtub, buying a single bed, and even asks what time breakfast would be. So, Red teases that with all her talk that it sounds like she's moving in with him. Happy, Red announces that she is and smiles at him. Red smiles in return. They stay like that for a long minute. However, behind Red's smile, he is thinking and hoping that the princess is joking. Her silence suggests otherwise. He eventually realizes that the princess is dead serious. Meanwhile, the hero party welcomes Gideon's replacement, Tissa Garland. The girl has the divine blessing of the assassin. Ruti comes out of her tent to tell the recruit that she will be under her command and not Arisu. She informs Tissa to be ready for tomorrow as they will be hunting for a weapon the previous demon lord left behind. While Red is busy stressing about living under one roof together with the princess, the hero party continues to protect the people of Avalon.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.